I don't want to put my face on it.
This is an ASMR podcast now.
And you're getting sleepy. It's like that sound makes it in every podcast we do. Welcome to the Geek Freaks Podcast. This episode's about Microsoft and their new applications and hardware and some of the redesigns that are coming up. Today's guests are Derik Burwald and Jacob Steele. How's it going, fellas?
Fantastic. Yourself?
Not bad. Before we get started, I need to make sure that you guys hit subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Breaker, TuneIn, Castbox, Stitcher, YouTube, and all other podcast listening platforms that you may be tuning in from.
Everybody.
I'm going to click it.
Yeah.
You should click
I already
it.
did.
Oh, yeah, okay. I don't click it on all that. I don't have all that.
Oh.
That's a lot.
Fair.
Do you have all that?
I don't know what half that stuff is.
Well, I can.
Has Spotify.
That's what people listen to.
Close enough.
So, first off, how's everybody going?
Good.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Tuesday.
Yeah.
Weeks. I was going to say the week's almost over. That's a lie.
No, the week has very much just begun.
That's also true.
Yeah.
So the first article is about the redesign to the To-Do app.
Yeah.
So I use To-Do. I've used Wunderlist too, which is basically what they back-ended To-Do off of. So Microsoft's newly redesigned To-Do adds new features and hopes to convince Wunderlist users to switch over. The new app has a reduced header size and is more colorful. There are also more personalization options that allow users to set custom backgrounds. And because of the hot new trend now, dark mode is also available, right?
Yeah,
So
Derik loves that one.
do you use dark mode on everything?
Oh, everything.
Yeah, everything.
So from a feature standpoint, they're adding tighter integration with its services. So messaging from Microsoft based on email accounts like Outlook and Hotmail can be flagged as a task. Outlook Planner can be used to populate in the assigned to me list. And the excellent launcher for Android also gains a to-do integration.
Yeah, it's definitely following the same path of all the other like Microsoft suite applications, right? So they're just trying to integrate everything.
Yep.
It's and it looks exactly like Teams, looks exactly like not so much Outlook, but every other application they have. It looks just like it.
I have it on my, I took it off actually. Because the problem that I had with it is that my to-dos from, like my personal to-dos from our planner stuff show up on that to-do list that's not defaulted. I'm probably sure I could have defaulted it.
Okay.
But I'm not really, I'm more of a handwritten list guy.
Yeah.
Than I am something else like.
I keep notepads. So like a notepad document just on my desktop for pretty much everything I do.
I think a lot of people do that. I think more people do that than, I don't know. I mean, you could probably get used to, like we're getting used to using Planner.
Yeah.
I get tasks assigned to me, but they don't show up on the to-do app. So I don't know. I think the Wunderlist acquisition was probably not so, I mean, they did it for the technology, I'm assuming, but it sounds like he wants to buy the company back.
Yeah, it takes a competitor out of the market. And that's ultimately what they did. It's the same thing they did with Skype because they were working on Teams and they wanted a competitor out of the market.
Did they develop Teams or was Teams purchased?
Teams, I don't know if it was developed. I think the back end was pulled from Skype. Derik, I don't know if you know anything more about that.
Probably. I would imagine it was.
Yeah, it seems like it was.
Because that's all back-ended by SharePoint.
Yeah. It all boils back into their like 365 life, right?
Ecosystem,
so, yeah. So everything you do ultimately is shown on through 365. So I think that's where it's kind of back-ending into. They're trying to build out 365 as the ultimate suite, and they're doing a good job for what it's worth.
No, I think it's a kind of a one-stop shop for what they're trying to do. It's just confusing because there's a lot of apps.
Oh my God, so many.
We're a partner, and I think we only use like 5 or 6 of their actual apps.
Yeah.
When we have access to 1 billion of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So seeing that Wunderlist is changing To-Do is changing to look more like everything else and to integrate more seamlessly, it makes sense. I'm not surprised.
No, I'm not surprised either. No. It's kind of weird that they're going to kill off Wunderlist as a tool because I feel like that's got more.
Is it though?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, from maybe not from a user standpoint, but more from like what's been around. There are a lot of people who use Wunderlist.
Yeah, I think it's just like Skype. They're just going to try to move everybody to do. So I bet what happens is, just like with Skype, or Skype for Business primarily, is they do a forced migration at some point, where Skype for Business, at some point, your computer goes, okay, now you have Teams, and it just installs Teams. I bet you it does the same thing with Wunderlist to do.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. It's just an evolution.
Probably comes in an update.
Yeah, more than likely.
So they're also getting on the bandwagon of Google Home and Amazon Echo. I think that's what the name of the product is.
Yep.
So they newly designed I guess it's not newly. It's been in the works for a couple of years. They want to add it to Teams so they can do like conferencing calls and all that kind of stuff. With Teams, they're trying to get more productivity suite based on. And I want to say that Teams was a Skype replacement, but now they're trying to do much more with it, like the whiteboarding and screen sharing, recording. Like I didn't know we were interviewing people with Teams, and that's dead simple now. You can do it from a web browser. You don't have to have Skype installed or Teams installed to do it anymore, which is really cool. But we recorded a candidate interview so I could send it to Bill.
Yeah.
And it went into Microsoft Stream, which is another application they have, which is like their YouTube thing.
That's new for me.
And
Never heard of it.
I think it's called Stream.
Yeah.
And it just, here's your link. Send it. I copied the link and sent it to Bill. And now it's living in our Stream account.
That's
I think it's Stream.
crazy. You know, I don't think we've explored what Teams can truly do fully.
No.
It's becoming like the dashboard for a business world, I think. And this is just kind of their, I want to say, conference phone replacement, right? Just like you said, it's going to be a conference phone replacement is ultimately what it's going to be. It's I'm waiting to see their foray into the VoIP world, like actual VoIP world. So now your phones are based off of Microsoft Teams.
Well, I think they've been doing that with Skype, right? We can get PT whatever numbers from them.
Actual PBX numbers.
Yeah.
So DIDs from them.
I think it's $20. I don't know. I know my wife uses it at work pretty extensively for conferences, and they can do like 200 people on it.
Okay.
And I know that is going to come into Teams because I've had people ask me about it, and I was doing some research on it. So that is coming where it's there already. So I think it's pretty wild to think that they're now decking it out to be a phone system, a conferencing center. Persistent chat is the best. The reason we got it is I didn't want to do Slack because I wanted to do what we were going to be supporting, which was Teams. But I think Teams is way better than Skype, and I think
hands down. Yeah, there's no like that. There's zero question about that. It is a much better version of what was a bad-ish program. I mean, it worked for businesses. It did, but it was weird because like Skype evolved to Link. And then people didn't use Link, and then it became Teams.
Was it the other way around?
I can't remember.
I think it was linked to Skype when they bought Skype.
Yeah,
so
it was like Skype was consumer, Link was business.
Yeah,
and then it kind of went to everything's just either Skype or Skype for business, and then they're like, okay, well, let's do Teams now.
Yeah, it's weird.
So do you think they mangled Skype in the back end and then just left the underlying technology in? I mean, I don't see them either. They acquired Teams, or I don't see them really starting from the ground up if they own Skype.
I think they did just that. They just pulled the back end and said, okay, let's make it prettier, make it more functional.
Yeah, I mean, Teams is way cool.
Yeah,
you got a phone app, you got
like
a desktop app.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can get it from the web too if you're logged in.
Yeah, you absolutely can. That's how when I'm working from home, that's how I typically do it.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And now the like that is going to be, I think that's probably their first foray into a true like desk phone replacement. That's what they're going into is this new speaker.
And that says it's got Cortana in it.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was specifically something mentioned about them moving away from the Cortana Assistant platform and moving into the Teams platform. So I think it's like maybe Cortana in the same way that Siri's on Apple. So you can like use it, but it's not a full-fledged
super passive.
Yeah. Like, hey, Cortana, instead of just a voice activated thing more than anything.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think it will give them the ability because it would be nice if we did conference calls that we could use Teams. Mm-hmm. Right now, we got to use our computers and then we hook up the Yeti to it and blah 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 blah. I think they're streamlining it. I mean, they got those Surface TVs. I don't know what it's called. Is it the Surface TV?
Yeah, I haven't looked into that much.
I kind of want to look it up now. So it's like their big conference room replacement. They sell it like 80 inches.
Oh, the thing's got to be $1 million.
It's not cheap.
I mean, if Microsoft's selling it, I got to imagine that it's at least Apple prices.
Yep. But if you think about most of the competition that's actually good for conferencing, it's probably about the same price. Like Zoom rooms aren't cheap to set up either.
No, they're not. I think,
Holy smoke-oly.
yeah.
It's called the Surface Hub,
Okay.
and it's basically a computer on steroids, has Teams built into it, so you can share screens. I can't see the MSRP on it, but the 55-inch is going for $9,537.
Good God.
It's all touchscreen though. I'll give you that.
I mean, that's nice, I guess.
8 gigs of memory, 128 gig SSD. So I mean, they're trying.
Yeah, Microsoft has been big tech, right, for a long time, but now they're becoming big tech that's not just an operating system.
Well, and I think that was the whole thing with the new CEO, right? Like,
Yeah.
we're going to buy, they bought GitHub or whatever,
Yep.
so they could have more of an open ecosystem because they saw how successful, like, the Linux community was doing it.
Yep.
And I think that was a smarter move.
Absolutely.
And I think by giving away Windows 10 for free, that was kind of their first foray to be like, okay, we can do more with the other stuff that we have because they have a ton of products.
It's so many. So many. It's insane how many products they have.
Yeah, it's going to be, and all the other big change too, and it was the next articles, Microsoft Teams can now make you translucent to show off whiteboards and meetings.
Yeah.
So like my face would white, I haven't used it.
No.
What was the general understanding there?
I watched the demonstration, and basically it will, anything you draw on the whiteboard, it will kind of outline it and then do like an overlay, and you'll look like you're transparent. It's pretty cool looking. But I feel like it's just one more thing in meetings that's gonna break.
Well, it was like the blur the background thing in Teams. When you're doing a team meeting, you can blur
Yeah.
out the background.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, so the last thing I saw that had this kind of similar technology was, I don't know if you've seen the Chevy truck commercial that's out there. So Chevy has a new Silverado that does basically the same thing. So it's like composite imaging and overlay, right? So that's exactly what this does. Is it
just make
sees
the
it.
trailer disappear.
Yeah,
Invisible
so
trailer.
all it does is it takes images and then overlays them on top of each other to create a new image, right? So that's what this is doing. Is it goes, hey, I see a picture of the whiteboard. Let's put that in the background, and then this person's on top of it, more translucent.
So they are literally making it their end all be all for communication.
Yeah, they're trying.
Teams.
They're trying real hard.
And I don't blame them. The
No.
consolidation of Skype, they're going to be that's next month. And they're forcing everybody off Skype. Or
Yeah,
maybe it's next year. I don't know.
it's pretty soon. I don't remember the exact date, but it's very soon.
So the other thing they've been working on is the HoloLens. Now, this has been around for a while. I've never seen it in the wild besides at like the E3 stuff and consumer shows.
Yeah, so TeamViewer just released a very similar product, TeamViewer Assist. It's essentially, I mean, it's kind of like FaceTime, but interactive, more interactive, I guess is the way I'd put it.
Is it a physical headset like the HoloLens?
No, TeamViewer Assist is not, but it's the same technology. So it's, I connect to you, I see through your eyes, and I do stuff like on the screen, and you can see what I'm doing. Like it looks like I'm interacting with whatever you're doing. TeamViewer Assist is the same thing. So it's, I put the program on my desktop. You call me with your phone. You show me the image, and I interact with said image.
So better for mobile support.
Yeah.
Because I can't we do a lot of remote support now. I don't think that is any different than what we do now, right?
Pretty much, except for now, instead of just going, okay, what do you see in front of you? People can actually pull up. It's like FaceTime. It's just like FaceTime, but TeamViewer.
I gotcha.
But plus I can interact with the screen. It's ultimately FaceTime. This basically what this is it's kind of like a,
But this is VR, right?
yeah. So it's, I can see all around me, but at the same time, it's just interactive stuff more than anything.
Holy, it's $3,500.
Yeah.
It gets released in September.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I won't be buying that.
No, it's being only limited to institutional use or the enterprise.
Yeah.
So I I know a certain medical company around here does VR for operating rooms.
They absolutely do.
So I wonder if that would probably be a...
that's a competitor.
Is that the Steam one?
The Oculus?
Yeah. Oh, no, it's Facebook, isn't it?
Oculus?
One of them, somebody owns somebody now.
Steam has one and Facebook
I think
has
Facebook
one.
owns Oculus
yeah,
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were in trouble or something because they hired the dude away. They hired a dude from another... I don't know, anyway.
Yeah. So the Microsoft one is going to be a competitor to a lot of the big ones out there. And I think the thing is it's got all the integrations. So now you can have a person who looks like they're in the room with you or thinks they're in the room with you in a meeting. So all those HoloLens meetings. Think of the last Avengers movie where they're all on a HoloLens thing. It's becoming reality.
I know, that's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird to think that they've been developed. I mean, this is the second one. The first one wasn't very good. I mean, you could see your desktop and manipulate your desktop and stuff. But yeah, that will be interesting to see if that gains. Like, I know Cisco tried to do it a while ago.
Yeah, they did. Yep. And it did not gain traction.
No, I don't think there's ever going to be a replacement for an actual meeting.
No. Having somebody in front of you feels so much more
personal,
intimate. Yeah, I think that's probably the right word.
So I think, long story short, Microsoft's making a lot of moves.
Yeah. And they're moving into that autonomous car space too.
Oh, yeah. I skipped right over that.
Yeah.
So
everybody is.
What is, it's not just like CarPlay, it's the whole damn car.
Yeah. Take over the car.
I don't know if I'd want to buy a car with Microsoft technology in it.
I
feel like they've had a car with Microsoft technology in it before. Not to this level, I'm sure.
Yeah, so I think there's cars that have the ability for like Microsoft Radio and stuff like that, but I don't think there's been any that's been like fully autonomous control of your vehicle, including like air vents, things like that. The fear is the ability to be hacked. So while Microsoft's protections are good, they're not great. Nobody's protections are great.
No, there's always going to be someone that finds some hole.
Yeah, and Jeep had Jeep didn't even have an autonomous car and people were hacking it. Literally, like, you're driving down the road, I'm going to hack your car and just shut off your transmission.
And that was all done through the same technology OnStar uses and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So the plug for this, just so I can kind of catch everybody up to speed, is Microsoft is at the Frankfurt Motor Show for the first time, and the company is expanding its automotive strategy. Microsoft updated its automotive strategy, which now clearly outlines the core principles that govern Microsoft's decision related to vehicles. Additionally, the new partners were announced for Microsoft's Connected Vehicle program, and the new program was launched to help startups make autonomous vehicles.
Yeah.
So is it the underlying AI then that they're doing?
I think so. I think it's their competitor for self-driving cars. I think it's what they're really moving into.
Has anybody partnered with them yet? Like any manufacturers?
I didn't catch that part
because it says the partners have been announced. So I just wondered if it's like
AI, I didn't read for
AI startups.
I didn't see anything specifically, but that just might have been my missing it. I know that there are several manufacturers out there that already are developing their own self-driving cars, including BMW. So I don't know who
BMW or Porsche just dropped one like last week.
BMW, I think, was in the stage where they were ready to drop one. So they had their own little car show a month and a half ago, give or take. And they had a bunch of like influencers, YouTube influencers and stuff come out, and they got to ride in a self-driving car, like legit self-driving 100% car. And the technology is fascinating, absolutely fascinating. But
I think it's
scary.
We were talking about it this weekend, and I think that it's going to be fantastic. But I have friends that are like, it's stupid. But this is literally what we've been clamoring for years is like, I want to be able to do more with my time.
Yeah.
You have a 45-minute commute, and now you can answer emails, and you can do all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
It does what remote work is lacking, and that's the travel time, right? So if you're traveling, say you're going to across the country, you can work while you're in an airport. You can do a lot of that, but you still have your drive time to and from the airport and anywhere else that takes away from your productivity. Now, if I have a drive time of 2 hours, I don't feel so bad about a drive time of 2 hours. I'm like, okay, well, in those 2 hours, I can still be productive. I can technically be working through that time. So it takes away the commute stress, I think. And that's what we're moving towards. Plus, it increases safety so much.
Well, I think that's what we also spoke on that, because somebody was like, well, they've been in car accidents and people have died. But think about how many people are in non-automated cars that die every day.
Yeah.
Just because it's new technology, it's, I guess, scrutinized more, which it should be.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild to think that that's coming. And it's wild to think how many players are now involved. If Microsoft is doing it, I'm sure Apple is probably going to have something to do with it.
I think they do.
If they haven't already.
Yeah, I'm sure they're in there somewhere. I'm sure Google is. I know Tesla has been really heavy into it. And I think once they get like the self-driving cars perfected, next is going to be airplanes.
Semis, airplanes. I think a lot of the world is going to be automated. And it's a good and a bad thing. It's going to mean a lot of people's jobs are disappearing or changing. I don't think you're going to get away from like planes not having pilots sit in them, but I think their job and responsibility comes lesser.
Yeah.
Same with semis. I don't think you get rid of the trucking industry completely autonomous. I think there still needs to be somebody behind the wheel to, get it out of certain situations.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy to think what's going to happen.
I say planes for the most part are already self-flying. I know a lot of people in the airline industry, and pilots are there more than anything for peace of mind and in case something goes wrong. They literally put in a plan and the plane flies itself.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, 100% flies itself. I think the only thing they have to really get involved in, I believe, is takeoff and landing.
Yep.
That's about it.
And I think a lot of planes will actually land themselves now.
Yeah. I think it's just human intervention for any like weird crosswinds and things like that. But yeah, for the most part, it's already done. This is applying it to a more mass transit system. So you're applying it to, there's hundreds of cars in front of you and behind you, as opposed to there's 100 airplanes in the air.
Yeah.
In the entire country, Well,
and you think about what else they're doing, like the Hyperloop that he's doing, and I mean everything's changing, right? Everything's going to be different.
Yeah.
But I think to get back to the topic of Microsoft, everything is going to be continuously changing. I think they finally have a CEO that believes in evolution of things and not like, this is our word, this is what it does. You know what I mean? Now you can share documents like you could, like they're competing with Google on collaborativity.
Collaboration.
Collaboration.
There it is.
That's not a word. I didn't say a word. That's not a real word. And I think it's great. I think it's only going to make other things better. Yeah. It's going to make people's lives better.
I trust Microsoft a lot more than I used to. And I think that's the right direction, is to have the people like us trust you more.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot better from our standpoint, like now that they're starting to kill some of their lines off of like operating systems and this and that. Yep. I think it's making our lives a little bit better too. Yeah, so anyway, I appreciate it, guys. Derik, thanks for chiming in the little bit you did there, Bubba.
And no problem.
Jacob, as always.
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely, man, a few words.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the Geek Freaks podcast. Make sure to hit the subscribe button on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Breaker, TuneIn, Castbox, Stitcher, and YouTube, and all other podcast listening platforms. If you enjoyed this episode, please let us know in the comments and share it with your friends. You can help the Geek Freaks podcast grow by leaving us a review. It really helps our podcast a lot. Until next time, see you later.
See ya.
See ya.